So I'd like to welcome Lorna on behalf of everybody here, on behalf of the TVS. A very warm welcome. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have Lorna here and her lovely daughter Kate. So thank you for coming today to share your experience of living with a leg ulcer. It's such a huge insight that we need to hear the story of the patient in all its power, in all its richness and complexity. So I'm just going to move on to a very beautiful set of photographs. It's okay.
Sorry, my husband's just got dementia.
It's all right, darling.
That picture makes me cry. I know, I'm sorry.
It's all right. So Lorna a few weeks ago sent me these beautiful photographs. I suppose to everybody, the point of sharing the story is because in order to treat a patient, we have to come to appreciate the story. And in order to appreciate the story, we have to listen. And I think that's what we're here to do today. So I absolutely love these photographs. So when Lorna sent them to me,
I didn't realise I'm going to be
You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry at all. So this is part of Lorna's beautiful family. I think you'll all agree they are gorgeous, including her very hunky husband.
He's now 65. Still looks pretty good. Yeah.
So Lorna, tell us a little bit about your lovely family. In your own time, take a wee breath.
Sorry about that.
No, don't be
sorry. Well, I'm 66 years old, soon to be 67. And I've got three amazing daughters, Kate and Hannah and Layla. And two fantastic grandchildren. Aaron's 21 and my granddaughter Ellie is 10 years old. I was a teacher for many, many, many years, but the thing that brought me to having leg ulcers is had a relationship with heroin from the age of 14 to currently, even just a few weeks ago, I'm still on methadone, 10 mil a day, and due to some child abuse when I was 4 years old, I've now learned that I think the reasons for using was to do with that. But so I was injecting all over, a lot in my legs. I mean, Kate knows, all my kids are very, very supportive. They know all this. And my husband, Graham, as well. I actually introduced him to it. He didn't have the same issues as me. But in spite of finding it when I was 14, I went on to train as a teacher. I was an infant teacher. I was a very good teacher. I know I was. Kids I used to teach actually came to Kate's wedding in September. I was teaching them when they were 5 years old. They're now in their 30s. But I ended up with, gosh, my legs were shocking. I've known Jemell for 8 years. My legs were terrible. And loads of treatment over the years.
What do you think's one of the hardest things about living with the leg ulcer?
Oh, you're aware of it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. You're never unaware of having a leg ulcer. You get in people's cars and they go, "What's that smell?" And you go, "It's my ulcer." And they go, what are you talking about? And you're always explaining yourself. You're always telling people. I smell it constantly. I was saying to you last night, can you smell it? I changed it very badly. I came without my compression stocking. This is the other leg. This is like all scars. And it's so impactful on your life. You can't ever paddle in the sea. I take my granddaughter to the seaside. Nanny, come paddle in the sea with me. I can't do that. You can't jump up in the morning and just get in a shower. You've got to put your leg in a bag. You often have strip washes where you'd much rather have a shower. And you just don't bother. It's just putting the stockings on even as well. I've come without my stockings. The best tip I ever had was wear surgical gloves to get them on. And I've told so many elderly people I meet in clinics who don't know about gloves. It's such a simple little tip, just gets them up the legs. You know, having to think about getting up and putting your stockings on. It's just... And what else, Kate?
What you said about absorbing pain.
Oh, the pain. The pain is something else. Yeah, I'm going a bit blank.
And I think we talked about one of the myths and misunderstandings about people who have a history of addiction who are on methadone, and this is really, really important that we've spoke about over the years, is that methadone isn't a painkiller.
Oh no, doctors absolutely believe that methadone is a painkiller. I kid you not, methadone is not a painkiller. And when you've been on methadone a long time, it has actually a reverse effect. You tend to feel more pain. It definitely, my husband currently, he's now got a brain injury, but he had sepsis. He ended up having his Achilles tendon removed, has a huge wound in the back of his leg. I'm currently doing a lot of the dressings. And we were talking about pain relief, morphine and stuff, and doctors were saying, but he's on methadone. He was on 90 milligrams, but he's on methadone. It's not a painkiller. You don't remove an Achilles tendon and not give someone something other than methadone. But so yeah, pain is... I fell out of treatment last year because I couldn't leave him. I had him at home and I couldn't leave him. He was undiagnosed. It's a bit of a long story. I won't bore you with it. 5 years previously, I'd finished my treatment. I was with Jemell and Fyffe, and I'd finished treatment. I was in clinic. Then I didn't wear my stockings like I was told when I was all healed. You must wear your stockings. I didn't. I fell on a bus 3 years ago, cut my shin. I've had this for 3 years. It's this big. It's this wide. Trying to get back into treatment, the way the services have changed, the nurses haven't changed. I never met a nurse who wasn't amazing. This is not a job you do lightly. This is a job it makes me cry when I talk about tissue viability nurses, because I actually sent an email. I've only just learned how to do emails, and I sent an email to the head of the tissue viability for my area, thanking them, because you know you've got to be passionate to do this job. You wouldn't do it otherwise. Because I changed my own leg. I did it very badly last night. They smell. They're horrible. It's just yucky. And you guys are amazing. Amazing. I really, really passionately believe that.
So I suppose, what do you think we could do? You're saying that we're all passionate.
I don't think you nurses could do anything better. I think government could do loads better. Tons. It's not. I see nurses now. I'm getting appointments now 14 days apart. I know that's partly because they know I can manage it, but there are elderly people that, you know, are getting appointments 8 or 9 days apart and they can't manage it. And I see very stressed nurses, very concerned nurses, not getting any support from above, wherever above is. And I mean, I can go on a bit, but I've been shouting, you know, I've been shouting for quite a few years, because I found a lot of acceptance. I'd be in clinic and I'd go, like, there was a man when Barnett had a clinic and his wife had 2 legs and she was in a wheelchair and it was closing, and I was saying, well, what are you all going to do? And they go, well, that's the way it is. No. It doesn't have to be the way it is. Someone's got to shout, you know. And I mean, I know you wanted to ask me questions. Takes me into the Legs Matter, where I feel like I got heard and I got invited to kind of be a part of that. So there is a point in shouting if you're just a patient. There is a point in shouting, definitely.
And I think one of the nice things about the Legs Matter campaign is that it's inclusive of everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lorna and I feel very passionate about actually saying that anybody can get a leg ulcer, and we need to include everybody.
And also with me, I mean, you wouldn't look at me and think I'd had a relationship with heroin my whole life. You probably just wouldn't. You're probably surprised, you know. And I was a good teacher. I was a really good teacher, and I know I might have been a better teacher had I not. And I've had years when I've not used. My longest was 7 years. I mean, I breastfed all my kids. I breastfed 9 years, 4 years, 3 years and 2 years. Didn't use when I was pregnant. But then I've had years where I have used, periods where I've gone back to it. Recently, a few weeks ago, Kate knows this, I bought some and I used once. Because, you know, with a lot of heroin addicts, some people talk about needle fixation. Some people believe needle fixation doesn't exist. It does. I don't want to launch into a thing about addiction. But for me, it was very much about hurting myself, I think, because I felt guilty about what happened to me when I was little. I don't really know. But, I mean, drugs and alcohol and whatever can affect anybody. And you all know that. We all know that. You know, and it's being accepting of people.
And I know we've spoke about what we may do for the Legs Matter campaign, including visiting some of the homeless shelters.
Yeah, I'd love to be
in London.
Yeah,
and I think
supporting Jemell.
I think it's really important that we
Talking
get out
to
there,
people.
wherever we are, and try and cross some boundaries with tissue viability, not stay in our nice little comfy boxes. But get out there and even look at children.
Yeah,
you know.
And for me as well, I've lost my husband half. Like, he's in hospital, he's got to go into a home. I can't have him home. We've been together 49 years. We've been married 39 years, and we've been together 49 years. I feel half of me has gone.
You'd be so proud of you.
But this is good for me.
It's great for you, and it's great for everybody to hear this. And everybody here has a big heart, and they need to hear this story.
I didn't know I was going to cry.
It's okay. It's okay. We all cried, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So what would be your take-home message for everybody here today in terms of your story?
Just have an open mind about everybody. Just have an open mind. Don't make preconceptions, you know, if someone's an addict or whatever, whatever, mental health. Just have an open mind,
And
I think.
I think
really.
it's about building, you talk about the open mind, I think it's about building that connection together.
Yeah.
So we've known each other a long time.
We had a great connection when we first met, but Kate will tell you, I talk to her. She gets really cross with me because I talk a lot. But as a teacher, I did. I said I used to start every day with my class with a story about what happened on my way to school and what can happen every day on your way to school, but could always come up with something, and the kids liked it. And she's telling me off now.
That's what daughters do.
I shut up, Kate. Sorry.
But it's really lovely to have you here, Lorna. I think one of the things that we're very passionate about in the TVS and in general is about challenging conventional stereotypes, taboos. And you talk a little bit about, to look at you, you wouldn't think that you had a history of addiction, but actually, what does somebody look like?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and actually we have to
Yeah.
start challenging what's on
Yeah.
the telly and social media, because it's somebody's daughter, it's somebody's friend, it's someone down the road. I think most people here, if they're honest, their life has been touched by addiction in some way.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it links back to mental health, and we need to challenge, we need to embrace, and if we're not sure how to work with people with those needs, then we need to ask for help.
And it was also, you know, you often think of an addict as somebody who lives in a dirty house and children don't go to school. Like, my kids have all done well. They've all got really good jobs. They all had clean shirts every day. Stuff, you know. It wasn't always good though, but you know,
I think
there's a lot of positives.
There's so much positive, and we've got so much to learn and grow, and I think that's what the aim is with the Legs Matter. And I think it's such a privilege to have you on board.
Well, it's just the beginning of it for me. I haven't sort of been part of it really, but I just feel as if I've been heard a bit from shouting for a few years.
You've been shouting and hollering, as you said, for a long time.
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. We need people like you to shout and holler, because we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Actually. So thank you from the bottom of my heart and from everybody here.
Thank you for
at TVS.
having me. It's been a real treat for
Thank
me.
you so much.
Really has. Really has. Oh, thank you.
Stand up.
Well, where do we go from there? That was really emotional. Thank you so much. Are you open to a few questions?
Yeah,
if
of
anyone
course.
has any?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you very much for sharing your story. It was amazing. I think all of us probably work with patients with leg ulcers, and I wondered if you had any advice that we could share with our patients, anything you would say to anyone else with leg ulcers.
Wow. That's definitely wear the stockings on the leg that is healed, which I'm not, and it's awful. But advice for patients. Just, I don't know what to say. Yeah. What? Yeah, you do have to keep positive. And, you know, good compression is amazing. It's life-changing. You know, when I get that compression on my leg, it's like a warm hug on my leg. That's what I say to the girls. Wow, I step off that bed. I think just getting into treatment and just being... I didn't get back in treatment until March the 4th this year. And my leg terrified me on March the 4th. Nikki, the nurse who I knew, she really told me off. She didn't mince her words. I was scared. I felt really scared. I thought, wow, this could get really nasty. So just doing as you're told, you know, do as you're told. I would say what the nurses tell you, they know. Yeah, I really...
It's true, though.
Sorry?
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, I think listening to them, you know, saying to your patient, you know, I really know my stuff. If I'm a tissue viability nurse, I really know my stuff. I have huge respect. And I've had terrible compressions from people, and I've been kind of learned on, and they've got better. And when you get a good compression, you absolutely know. And it's life-changing. You know, I was in agony. I used to lie on the settee with this leg up on the back of the chair, ringing my surgery when I was out of treatment crying, saying, I feel like I'm being eaten by a lion. I've never been eaten by a lion. But the pain, the neuropathic pain, and amitriptyline, gabapentin does nothing. I even got some heroin, does nothing. I got morphine off my neighbour, it does nothing. And I know it doesn't, because it doesn't treat neuropathic pain. But I was grasping at straws. In fact, I probably find the best thing is ibuprofen, which I'm not really supposed to take, because I've got some liver sort of problems.
You found it quite useful.
But I did find, but the only thing for an ulcer is good compression.
Yeah.
And do as you're told.
I think we all agree on absolutely on the compression, don't we?
And tissue viability nurses are angels, male or female. And I tell you, I have to say, and this is important, you know, with discrimination, whilst the nurses have been to my house with my husband for 8 years, and they've come into some situations where he's been very unwell, very psychotic. They've never walked out the door. They've never walked out the door. And they've never shown us a jot of discrimination in any way. It's an amazing service, as is the district nursing service that have been coming out. I sent emails as soon as I learned how to do emails. Only because of the legs matter, I couldn't do an email. I had to communicate. I sent them both, the head people, emails praising the services. Because you don't get praise. It's a tough job. Yeah.
Are there any other
Oh,
questions?
shut up, Mum.
Yeah. Ask a question over here.
Hi, thank you so much. That was just a fantastic story. And I'm a tissue viability nurse, I work in the north, and I've treated lads for years that have had previous drug issues or have still got ongoing drug issues. And I think it makes me quite emotional, actually, because the discrimination that they have faced has been horrendous. And to a man, I have not met a nicer bunch of people.
Yeah.
They're the kindest, sweetest lads I've ever met. And I think we all need to remember that actually, that isn't the sort of overall impression, is it, of a young lad on drugs?
Definitely not. And the number of nurses that have been to my house over the 8 years, many of them have said what a learning experience it's been to kind of come and meet Graham and I and see our family, meet our daughters, and my grandchildren only lived a few doors away, and just get, because I talk a lot clearly, just get different insights into the situation, you know.
But I think it's that what people perceive to be the reality of what a drug user is not the reality. It's completely different to that.
Absolutely. And
Thank
it's
you.
good if I can change
And I think
attitudes.
this conversation today is the beginning, is the start, and we need to take it out from here. Every person here needs to challenge negative connotations, negative stereotypes in our clinics, on the street, wherever we are, in the pub. It's unacceptable. It's really unacceptable. And once we start filtering that down, we can really make a difference. So thank you. Thank you, Lorna.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.